From origin to legend.
I need to become a symbol. I need to become Batman.
Become the hero.
Someone's gotta step up!
Build a legacy.
Let's get to work. You wanna get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm allergic to nuts.
Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight.
This is my favorite part.
Available May 22nd on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. Then today's episode. So, I had did this episode already, but I was speaking out of anger. I wasn't thinking straight. I was just seeing red, because my thing is this. If you guys know me, I make music. I'm always trying to explore every options possible with music. So, back in 2020, I decided to get into playing the guitar. Didn't take it serious, didn't even know what I was getting myself into, but I wanted to play the guitar. So I went all out to Guitar Center. I bought me an amplifier. I bought me a guitar. Starter guitar. I didn't go all out. I think the guitar was maybe $100 and something and things. The amplifier, I can't remember how much it cost altogether, but I was at the time, I was dead serious about playing the guitar. And then, I gave up. I was like, I don't really have it in me right now to try to teach myself how to play the guitar, because it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into learning how to play. And so, anyways, fast forward up until now. So, I just finished Wastelanders 4. And that is something that I had told myself all the way back when I did get my guitar. Wastelanders 4, by the way, is a series that I've been working on, music related. And so that's finished. And then I plan on, I don't know if because I'm trying to figure out how can I do a double album. So I don't know exactly how, through the program that I go through to post my music, I don't know how I will be able to achieve that. I'll figure it out, but because the album is supposedly supposed to be coming out on August 10th. Hopefully. At least if it doesn't come out on Spotify and all that stuff on August 10th, it'll definitely be posted on YouTube. So, but anyways, yeah, I was all I told myself that I wanted to come out a while back. I told myself that I wanted to come out with an album where I'm just strictly playing the guitar. So, yeah, that's why I went on this whole journey and wanted to go and get me a guitar and stuff. So anyways, recently, I had bought this device. It's called, because it pretty much allows you to plug your guitar up to your computer, and then you can play off of your computer versus trying to record stuff. Because I'm it ain't going to sound the same when trying to, because I'm I don't know how to record. I guess I would be able to plug it up, the amplifier, because I think I did before. Plug up the amplifier to my computer, and then I think that would be the way of recording my music. But I was no, I wanted to use a program where I could just plug my computer directly, or plug my guitar into my computer. But anyways, so there's this device called a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 4th generation USB audio interface for recording, songwriting, streaming, and podcasting. High fidelity, studio quality recording, and all the software you need to record. So, I went ahead, I bought that because, the program that I was going to go through, and I should have known that something shady was going to happen with this program, but the program that I decided to go through is Rocksmith, done by the company Ubisoft. So, to kind of give you guys a little bit of history on Ubisoft, Ubisoft used to be a extremely, reputable company. It's a company where if you were to ask me back in high school, and even when the Division 1 had came out, is Ubisoft a good company? I would have said yes, because I'm like, you guys had the Advanced Warfighter games, you had Future Soldier, you had the Splinter Cell games. You guys was on top of your game when it came to gaming. Then when you came out with the Division, that really made me into a Ubisoft fan at one point in time. But as the years went on, I started to see a pattern with Ubisoft that they were only in it to make money when it came down to gaming. What Ubisoft used to be back in the day, yeah, that stood for gaming. But what it stands for now, all they care about is making money. Yeah, they'll make a video game, but that video game has to make them money. They don't care whether you're having fun with the game or not. Because when you look at the one video game that they came out with, X Defiant, that game was essentially just Counter-Strike, but with Ubisoft characters. So they had Division characters, Rainbow Six Siege characters. What else? Like it pretty much was team deathmatch, but in you with like all the different Ubisoft characters. I don't know if they had like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, but yeah, they just had pretty much like any character that's had a gun in Future, or not Future, but Ubisoft games and stuff, then yeah, they just put them all together in one big giant game. And yeah, but and the thing is this, at least that game was free, but it wasn't fun. That's why the game has shut down. I know people will try to argue and say, oh, the game was fun. It might have been fun to you, but to the rest of the world that stopped playing the game, it wasn't good. All right, we can all, at least people that realize what Ubisoft is as a company, we can all see that that game wasn't going to last when that game very first came out. Because I know when I played it, I was like, yeah, this game, it's good for maybe one session, but if there ain't nothing else to do, like if it ain't one of those games, because I had to say the only time where that has worked out for Ubisoft is when they came out with Rainbow Six Siege. But let's talk on the Rainbow Six games real quick. I'm going to get into Rocksmith at some point in time, but I wanted to talk on like just all of their games together and stuff. So when you look at, because yeah, X Defiant, everything needs to be said about that game. That game sucked. It shut down. That's why you ain't seen. The only thing you'll see of that game is old videos, but you ain't gonna see nothing new. So, but anyways, let's talk on Rainbow Six. So, the first time when I had ever played a Rainbow Six game was back when I was in high school, I believe. It was one of the Rainbow Six Vegas games. What's the one that has it where they start you off like on a mountain? Where it's like I think that's like the first mission. It's like, I think it might have been 2. It might have been Rainbow Six Vegas 2. But I think, yeah, that was the first one that I played, because I think I was watching content creators play that game. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and see what this game is all about. Yeah, just, see, because I'm like, I played, because I think at that time I had already played Advanced Warfighter 2. And so, yeah, I was like, all right, I'm just curious to see what overall is to come out of this game and stuff. Played it for a little bit. I didn't really feed too much into it. It wasn't fun like Advanced Warfighter, so I had to say at one point in time, that was my favorite game to play. Never beaten it though, but it was one of those games where I was like, it was occupying my time a lot when I was playing it years ago. So, but anyways, yeah, Rainbow Six, it was a great series. They did come out with Vegas 1 and 2. You did see a lot of people have fun with both Rainbow Six 1 and 2. And then fast forward, 2015, they came out with Rainbow Six Siege. And I feel like that was the downfall to Ubisoft as a company. If they probably would have never came out with Rainbow Six Siege, I think that the company would definitely be in a different place. And I feel like that they would be a lot more aggressive when it comes to developing a video game, meaning that they would be doing any and everything's in their power to make sure of it that this game is good. Because you have to understand, you guys are in a very competitive industry. The gaming industry is probably one of the most competitive industries out there, because the thing is this: any movie can be successful, and you can watch that movie time after time after time, over and over and over again. Same with music, same with what else in the entertainment industry, books, all that stuff. All of that stuff can last a lifetime. But video games, at one point in time, it could last a lifetime. Like you'll see at times where people, they will go back and they'll play a game that came out some years back, but it's rare. Unless it's the person has an old console or they're remastering the video game that came out all those years ago. But the thing is this, when you look at a lot of different video games in this day and age, what's the one thing that they all have in common? They're all trying to make money. When you look at Call of Duty, what Call of Duty was back then, it's not the same game as it is now, because right now they're all about making money. Same with Fortnite, same with any game by EA, same with any game by 2K. They're all trying to make money. Now, there are some games that do come out where it's not about the money. They want people to genuinely have fun. And that's kind of like, you know how like wrestling, for an example, where you'll see that one guy that gets into wrestling that don't know nothing about wrestling, but the only thing that they can bring to the table is the money. But when you get that one person that is an expert in wrestling, knows any and everything that they need to know about wrestling, that's when I'm like, okay, I trust this guy. I trust this guy with a match. I trust this guy with a promo. I trust him with any and everything, him or her, whoever. I trust them with anything related to wrestling. So, switching back to gaming. When it comes down to developing a video game and making sure of it that the game is fun, you can play it for a long period of time, you know, build a whole fan base off of it. Because one game that I had to say, for an example, where they did that, Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't think there is not any game in the recent years that has came out that's been able to top Grand Theft Auto 5. That is one game where it's like that game it just seems like it like continuously keeps growing. That's like, I feel like that when a person gets into gaming, that's the first game that they play. When somebody gets into content creating, that's one of the games that they'll make videos on. But I mean, when you look at the amount of content that comes with Grand Theft Auto 5, from the single player content, the multiplayer content, then if you have a gaming PC, the modded content. And when you look at games like that, and then when you look at a game like just any game from Ubisoft, what games from Ubisoft would you say could compete with Grand Theft Auto 5? Not with, because of how popular it is, but with the amount of content that the game has. Now, one game that I will personally say where it might not have as much content than Grand Theft Auto 5, but one game that I will say from Ubisoft that it does have a lot of content in there is the Division series. When you look at the amount of things that you could do in the Division 1, 2, I haven't really played too much of Resurgence, so I don't know too much about it, but when you look at those games, the Division 1 and 2, a lot of content can come out of those games, you know, and even some other games too, like The Crew, what else? Ghost Recon. Like, there's a lot of different games of theirs that have a lot of content, but can we compare those same games to Grand Theft Auto 5? No, we cannot, because in my opinion, Grand Theft Auto 5, that's a game where I feel like that it was ahead of its time, but at the same time too, they didn't want to limit themselves. Rockstar Games just didn't want to limit themselves to, let's just have it where there's the single player and then the modes and the stuff that we have in multiplayer. Nah, they were all like, we got to do more. We got to add more. And I feel like that when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it's definitely going to be one of those games where I'm like, I might not be as excited as I should be right now for Grand Theft Auto 6, but I feel like when that time starts nearing for that game to come out, like it'll probably be October it's going to probably be October, I am going to be hyped for that game. I'm probably the day before, I'm not going to be able to sleep because all I just want to do is play Grand Theft Auto 6. But have I been saying 5? If I've been saying, because I have been talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, but if I accidentally had said Grand Theft Auto 5 referring to Grand Theft Auto 6, I do apologize. But anyways, but no, my question to people, do you see Ubisoft coming out with a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 or having hype for a game like Grand Theft Auto 6? No, they cannot. Not possible. Because my thing is, I remember when Ghost Recon, when that game was coming out, Ghost Recon Wildlands, I should say. When Ghost Recon Wildlands was coming out, that was a game where you seen some conversation surrounding it. But I feel like the only reason why I was seeing so much stuff around that game, because I was looking for that stuff. Grand Theft Auto 5, on the other hand, I remember the marketing for that game. TV commercials. YouTubers from all areas and categories. I mean, we're seeing full-blown challenges. I'll never forget, I remember when Grand Theft Auto Online had came out, and there was this one guy, he was doing a live stream of trying to get to a level 1000. And this man, I mean, he was playing this game day and night, getting tanks, shooting at people, just doing any and everything that he can. Like, I guess, like, trying to do a speed run on leveling up. But overall, though, Grand Theft Auto 5 had and it still to this day has so much content. And let's just see something real quick. Hold on for a second. I want to see what Rainbow Six Siege Steam player count. And this is just overall going for and it might, I feel like Grand Theft Auto, it might be less. Hold on for a second. Let's see what their player count is. So they got Legacy and they got Enhance. So hold on for a second. So Rainbow Six Siege, their player count right now is at 43,000, a 24-hour peak 86,000, and then they had an all-time peak 2.2 years ago with 201,000. I don't know what was going on too, but that, you know what, it was probably when they made the game free. I remember when they did that whole thing like, oh yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, ain't the game free now? But anyways, Grand Theft Auto 5, so there's Legacy and Enhance, and both games, both versions of the game has more players than Rainbow Six Siege. So that's and I know people are gonna probably, you know, try to argue and be all like, oh, cause yeah, the game has more and stuff, but that's Ubisoft's biggest game. A game that has nowhere is like near the same amount of content than Grand Theft Auto 5. So can somebody explain to me, how does a game like Rainbow Six Siege still last to this day? And what's so crazy is that they came out with a completely different Rainbow Six game. They came out with a game called Rainbow Six Extraction. It was like this, it was pretty much Rainbow Six Siege, but with monsters. And yeah, then you just had to like go kill the monsters, I think get some stuff, try to extract. If your player got killed, then you have to go there with another character and save them. I feel like that they had a lot more of a better concept than Rainbow Six Siege, but they didn't even give that game any chances. There's like, oh, there's nothing, the game ain't gonna make them no money. So what they did, they went right back to Rainbow Six Siege. That's like if Rockstar Games were to come out with Grand Theft Auto 6, and then they just went right back to working on Grand Theft Auto 5. What's the point of coming out with the new game then? So, fast forward, a couple of days ago, I get this device to start playing the guitar. One program everybody kept recommending was Rocksmith. Okay, I'll check out Rocksmith. I downloaded Rocksmith Plus. I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, this should be a walk in the park, learning how to play all this other stuff. What could possibly go wrong? This was a game by Ubisoft. That's what went wrong. I downloaded this program, or game, whatever you want to call it, start having audio issues. Why am I having audio issues with a music video game? A video game where it requires you to listen, to hear things. Somebody please explain to, and I know people are going to probably be all like, oh, sounds like a hardware issue. Sounds like this issue. Yes, it's a hardware issue on Ubisoft. It's a software issue on Ubisoft. It is a skill issue on Ubisoft. The thing is this. There are so many different video games that Ubisoft has came out with in all the, you know, just in the recent years and stuff. I can name things wrong with Rainbow Six Siege. I have named things wrong with The Division 2. I can name things wrong with Ghost Recon. There's so many different things. So all of a sudden now with Rocksmith, that's their flagship game. That's their game that's going to lead them to the promised land. That's their game where it's better than any other. It's not. Ubisoft cannot come out with a good video game. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Ubisoft, if their life was on the line, a lot of people would end up not on this planet no more. If they worked for Ubisoft and they had one mission, one shot, one chance to come out and their life depended on it, they had to come out with a good video game. They wouldn't be able to. If they can add a season pass and all these other different things to it, then yes, that's their definition of a good video game. A video game that makes them money. But other than that, and I'm like, man, you know, when you look at, I'm trying to think of some other games from Assassin's Creed, you know, and you look at that game where I'm like, that game seemed like that it was decent. Assassin's Creed Shadows, that game seemed like it was decent, but still, I feel like the only conversation that people can really have that was negative about that game was they didn't like the idea of a black man leading the video game and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, do you know how many video games out there exist where a black man is leading? I'm like, literally one of the biggest games in this world, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Last I checked, Carl Johnson wasn't white. So that's why I'm like, I don't look at things like that when I'm playing a video game. I look at how long can I play this game and have fun with it. Ubisoft cannot come out with the game. The thing is, there are people out there where they will play a Ubisoft game, like if it's a story-based game and stuff, they'll play it to get through the story and move on with their lives. But other than that, there's no replay value unless it's like one of their old games. Any game that Ubisoft then came out with, it has no replay value. And I feel sorry because I feel like that there are people out there, they'll argue and they'll say that Rainbow Six Siege, that game has replay value. You could do any and everything's in that game. But when you step out of that Rainbow Six Siege bubble, right, and you start playing some other games, you'll realize that the grass is so much greener on the other side. Because if I remember, I played Rainbow Six Siege when it very first came out. And then I remember playing The Division. But when I looked at all of these different games that exist, and then when I got me a PlayStation, I got me a gaming PC, and I seen all these different games. What reason do I have to play a Ubisoft game? What reason does anybody have to play a Ubisoft game? When there's games out there where you can get them at a cheaper price and have so much fun. But even my thing is this, if there's any reason to play a Ubisoft game, it has to be their old games. But that's the thing, though. They're taking down their old games. You can't go and get you a Splinter Cell game that unless you have like an Xbox 360, or if it's a game that has like a backwards compatible, thing going on. But other than that, it's like if you wanted, so like let's say for an example, you have a gaming PC and you want to play Advanced Warfighter, you ain't gonna be able to buy it unless, I wonder if they have it like a Steam key things. Advanced Warfighter 2 Steam key. Let's see how much they're going for. G2A, $5 to $778. That's how much it's going for right now. And I'm thinking to myself, fam, there is nothing worth. Yeah, no, I would never. I'm like, I am not going to spend that much on a video game where I'm like, the game was good, it wasn't that good, all right? But that's how much, if you wanted to play that game on PC, that's how much you would have to pay for it. Is it really worth it? And Ubisoft, they're not going to come back out with those games for whatever reason. I don't know. But my thing is this, right? Because, and I feel like the reason why they would never come back out with that game is because it wasn't a top-selling game. Rainbow Six Vegas, those were top-selling games. I'm trying to think, do they have any of the Splinter Cell games? Maybe I'm incorrect about those games, but let's see. Oh, actually, no, they do actually have their Splinter Cell games on. They have Splinter Cell Conviction. Huh, wow, I did not know that. I thought that they just had the so they have Conviction, Blacklist, and then I think this is the very first Splinter Cell game. But other than that, it's like, yeah, they that's I feel like those were the only games that they have, just 3. I feel like that they should have more. Hold on for a second. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, let's see, series. How many games did they come out with? Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, Essentials, Double Agent, Conviction, Classic Trilogy, Blacklist. So they did have more games. So there was definitely some more games that they came. Not a whole lot, but more than 3. So, but yeah, overall though, it's like you guys. There was like, yeah, and there was last one that they came out with was 13 years ago. And I'm like, man, when you guys have all of these other different good titles that you can either re-release, remaster, or come out with a new version, but you're so locked in on, let's just see how much money that we can milk out of Rainbow Six Siege. Can we honestly trust you guys as a company? Then with the Rocksmith game, so that was the whole issue with that. On the reason why I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna look at another program that I can use on how to learn how to play guitar and stuff, or just watch some YouTube videos. But overall though, they have it where there's all this music that you have to buy on there, and I'm thinking to myself, how is it that you guys? So, and that's why I'm like, one thing that I hope for if it's something like Spotify, Apple Music, where it's like, okay, we know that there are some music learners out there and stuff. So yeah, let's just go ahead and come out with some, because that's one thing that I will say about Ubisoft is that they're in a vulnerable spot. They're not this successful giant corporate company where it's like, oh, we could come out with a video game and it's going to win everybody over. What's going to happen is at some point in time, Ubisoft is going to be in the most vulnerable spot that they have ever been in throughout the existence of Ubisoft. That's when we're going to start seeing games competing with Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, Assassin's Creed. What else? I mean, and we just had the one game come out that competed with Skull and Bones, Windrose. So, and look at, and my thing is, hold on for a second. Let's just see real quick, what Windrose, what they got going on, and then what, Skull and Bones, what they got going on. So, Skull and Bones, 134 people playing the game right now. Windrose, 47,920 people are playing the game. You cannot convince me in any way, shape, or form that Ubisoft is still a successful company. The only reason why they are successful is because of Rainbow Six Siege. But other than that, people don't be fooling with the Division games. Unless there's like that small corner of fans that for some reason they're like, oh, anybody that talk bad about the game, we got to jump to the game's defense. The game sucks. It does. Every game that Ubisoft has came out with, there is something wrong with it. It's either a game where it's just not good, or overall they trying to do any and everything that they possibly can to make money off of it. But other than that, Ubisoft, if their life depended on it, if their life was on the line, Ubisoft would not be able to come out with a good game. And that's just facts. So I'm saying, like, if there is indie developers that are working on a game either with a small team or by themselves, and they can come out with a game better than yours, that says a whole lot about you guys. Where it's like, y'all, either your heads are not in it, or you just don't care about video game development no more. So, but anyways, with that being said, yeah, I feel like that there's definitely more that I know I could say about Ubisoft, and I think I am going to either do YouTube videos or do more podcast episodes exposing that company for what they really are. But yeah, I just think that more people need to see that. More people need to understand that Ubisoft is not in it to overall give out that fun feeling that people get when they play a video game. They're in it for the money. That's it, plain and simple. So, but anyways, because if they wasn't, then that's why I feel like that would be the perfect time to prove somebody like me wrong. Come out with a video game where it puts me back in that same mindset that I was in when I was playing Advanced Warfighter 2 for the first time. But if you guys can't do that, shut down as a company. Do everybody a solid and shut down as a company. I guarantee and I promise you, if Ubisoft were to announce that their company was shutting down, the gaming industry, it wouldn't slow down. It wouldn't be no problems. It would be strange because it's like, where did that come from? But other than that, the gaming industry would continue moving forward. They wouldn't slow down, shut down, or it's like, no, nobody would care if Ubisoft shut down as a company. So, but anyways, with that being said, talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service, and peace.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Stitch Fix. Stop shopping. Get styled.
Not today, sweatpants. Somebody's wearing jeans that fit.
Wow! No photos, please. I'm just a regular dad who happens to have a stylist.
I really look my best when someone else makes the decisions.
Hey, we can all see you two-way mirrors.
Just share your size, style, and budget, and your stylist sends personalized looks right to your door. Stitch Fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com.
I want to hug you. I'm going to hug you. I'm coming in for a hug.